Good morning, everyone. It is Social Surge with Fly and Mo. We be here. That was a little wonky. That's fine. This is fine. We're all fine.
It's okay. I was just letting you talk because I'm like, wow, I'm actually not ready.
It is Tuesday.
Oh God, is it only Tuesday?
It is only Tuesday. It has been a week already, has it not?
Every week, every day is a week. Every day is a really long week. You know it's gonna be good when we start punchy out of the gate. Like right. I woke up today and I was like, all right, let's freaking do this. Like carrying over the energy from our conversation last night. I don't know if y'all know this. And you must, because you're in this business, but the side chats in this business are out of control. And I think it's actually a very important thing to bring up, is because I have been looking at the way that I speak to the people that I'm closest to, where I don't feel like I have to have a filter, when I feel like I'm like, that is really who I am. And it shows up in the text messages. And like, so what happened was, I was thinking about what we were going to talk about today. I was looking back at our text messages and I'm like, I get so fired up when I text Mo at 11 p.m. because that is when I'm really like in it. And then I was looking at my LinkedIn and I was like, I don't see myself in any of that. How many times have you either Mo or you, everybody else watching, which is like 5 of you, which we love you so much. When is the last time that you like looked at something of yours and you were like, yeah, you want to know what? That is totally representative of me and the way I think and what I really do. Like, I think that truly this is this is a critique of myself and a critique of everybody else. Is like, are you actually showing up in your content? Can people actually see you, the person that you are, when you don't have a filter, when you're texting Mo? And look at how long that text is, by the way. The receipts. So that is so I just launched into it. I'm not pulling punches today, but that is the genesis of the conversation we are having today, which is how to make your values legible online.
Correct. I just real quick want to jump in and say good morning to Regalata Real Estate and Pamela Jojo. Two of my favorites are over on Instagram, so appreciate you guys showing up this morning. This is Social Surge Live with Fly and Mo, and today we are talking about how you show up online, and is it representative of your content, and how does your content and your conduct represent you?
I love that.
It goes hand in hand together. And thanks to everybody else who's joining us over on LinkedIn and X and YouTube. Yeah, we're all over the place.
Tube.
We're on the tube.
On the tube. Wow, I went for the cold open.
That's perfect, because you were fired up about this yesterday. Good morning, Dwayne. And the whole point is that how are you representing your values on social? How is that representative of your content as well as your conduct, right? And we have this thing like, and I'm more into like the conduct part of it, because I've seen kind of the darker side of social, right? Where people DM you and they're rude, or they make rude comments. And then it's like, dude, like everybody else can see this. Like, this is not just a conversation between you and me.
It is disgusting to me when I see people, especially on X, but like a random thread that like Skylar Romine was not in, and I will learn how to say her last name before I see her in a week, which I shouldn't have said that, but she wasn't even in this thread. She wasn't even evoked in this thread. She wasn't on this thread. And some random duder was like, Skylar sucks, but whatever. Like, I'm just like, why would you ever go in public like that and be like, this person sucks? Like people do it to her, people do it to all the big accounts, to BK, to Strip Mall Guy, especially, right? There's one guy who will show up on Strip Mall Guy, and we're tangenting, but we're gonna stop. But there is like, people make it their personal vendetta to say shitty things about other people on the internet.
Yes.
And I'm like, that is such a bad look. Okay, sorry, you triggered me.
But it's true, because it's the fact of like, this is not just a personal conversation that's happening between you and the poster. It is between you, the poster, and everybody who's going and reading in the comments, right? I mean, this is kind of a whole thing. Like, people have made actual creator accounts, particularly on TikTok, and now it's bleeding over onto Instagram, where all they do is respond to comments. They just read the comments, right? Like, that's their whole shtick. Good morning, Santa Maria Dev, who's joining us over on IG. That is their whole thing. Like, that's it. And so you always have to be aware of how you conduct yourself. There are plenty of times where I have come out with a very snappy, very snarky, very on brand for me comment. And then I stop myself and I look over at what the heck and I say, hey, is this good? And he goes, no, don't post that.
Wow.
I have a lot of drafts in, especially on X, that is stuff that I had wanted to post in response to something, but I held back because it comes down to, does this provide value to the conversation? Does this provide value to me? Or is this just an emotional response because something triggered me to respond that way, right? So as we're talking, you had a great list of content that you were just like, these are all the things we want. So I'm going to start it off with, you said CRE is built on relationships and relationships are built on trust. Trust is built faster when I'm literally.
She's reading the text message I sent her at, what was the time? It was like 11:30. I don't know.
It was late your time.
Yes, read to me what I said.
The brilliance of me at 11:30 at night. Okay, so trust is built faster when your values are clear. And this is something that you and I have discussed quite a bit here, especially when we're talking about LinkedIn and we're talking about your value proposition. Please make it clear and concise and easy for a fifth grader to even understand what it is that you do. If your value is not clear, and we're not just talking about value, like your value proposition, we're also talking about your values. But if your value proposition is not clear, you are going to confuse your potential prospect, client, buyer, and a confused buyer does not buy. Boom. That's it right there. So the next thing that you said, values are more than just words, it's your actions. I'm not going to repeat it.
And I love that you're not saying what was said after it, but to the effect of, yes, values are more than just your words, it's your actions. And we have talked about this multiple times before. You need to be showing up in your content, showing people what you're doing and talking about why you're doing it, right? And so it's sort of like, if you're gonna talk to the talk, you got to walk the walk a little bit. But it's also just like, you already are having these conversations every day that are driven by your values. And we're going to talk about values and what those actually are in a second, right? But it's the things you care about, the way you work, right? Who you work with, all that stuff. So
the next thing. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, keep going.
No, go.
So the next thing that you said is, you said you want to document that process, right? You always want to document. Why do we want to document on social? Because we're nosy. Flat out, we're nosy. People are nosy. They want to know what you're doing. They want to know why you're doing it. You don't necessarily have to document the how, right? But at the same time, you want to share that process so that you can create that trust. You can create that common denominator, like, oh, I've had that issue as well, right? It's having that conversation with that person that you don't even realize that you're actually having a conversation with them because they're consuming your content. You also said that shared values make better deals. And I love this. If you're in alignment, you understand each other, and you believe in the same stuff, the transaction will be faster and smoother. I didn't say the word that you
I know. You're being very kind to me by not letting all my swearing rip on LinkedIn at 7:41 a.m. Yeah, I mean, look, that's the look. How many social media managers are there out there, right? How many people in this business are? I mean, like, there's you, and then there's everybody else, right?
But I just don't think they're out, like, they're not as.
It's not. Yeah, it is not. It is not very common for people who are in marketing to be very vocal about their own work because they're busy doing the work for all the other people. Like, you're up at 3 a.m. because the East Coast is about to pop off, right? But So I think, what I'm trying to say is that the reason that you and I work so well together is because like we believe in the same stuff. We believe in the same stuff. We have the same style, and where we do not, the answer, Dwayne, the answer is myself. The answer is myself. I'm sick of my own bullshit. All right. I told somebody recently that they needed to stop pulling their punches because I could no longer see them in their content. They asked me if they asked me if they were washed because they weren't getting the same amount of reach and visibility that was there before. And some of that is the algorithm, but I was like, the algorithm is you, and you're holding something back. So this is kind of like the genesis of all that, because I turned into it on myself. But people who share your values you are gonna have a better time working with them. You are gonna be able to help them better. You and I work so well together because like we understand each other, we relate to one another, we have shared experiences, shared goals, etc. Right? Like right. That is the kind of relationships that you can have with your clients. That is the kind of relationship that you can have with your referral partners. And how the hell are they gonna find you if you are not vocal about what you care about how you want to work, about what you want to do, about the results that you get for other people because you value doing things a certain way? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about when I mean shared values make shared. Man, that was going to be a great clip, and then I flubbed. Shared values make better deals. That's it.
Shared values do make better deals. And I love that, because if I don't know, and maybe it's just me and experience talking, but if I am prospecting a client and they give me the ick, or there's something in there that like, I'm like, this might not be a good fit, I will be like, I don't know if this is going to work out. There are certain things that I can tell that a client is going to be a PIA, a pain in the ass. And I'm too old and crotchety to deal with that anymore. Like, if you want to work with me, great. I love you. Let's do it. These are the things. This is how we work best together. I'm very plain spoken about it. This is how we work best together. If this is not something that you can do, then maybe we should not work together, because you are going to piss me off. Like, I don't actually say that, but
right.
But I know yes, I know if our values do not align, then it's not going to be a good working relationship, because we do not have the same goals in mind. And that's a challenge with everything. So how do you share those values? How do you share those goals on social where it's not more of a humble brag or a self-promotion? That's probably a great
Zelnick in the chat.
Corey popping in. He's still mad because I made fun of him yesterday on Cup of Joe.
It's a long life, Corey. You gotta water off the back, right? Just like, and I do. So before we actually crack open like the how we actually do this, which is really a topic that takes months. Just to be clear, again, to just level set on some expectations, this is just, good morning, Julia. This is just the beginning of the conversation, okay? But shared values will attract the people that you want to do business with. It will literally repel, I think that's what I said to you last night, it will literally repel the people that you don't want to do business with. So Correct. You won't even have to waste time with people in your DMs. Love it. I love it. Oh man, it's like a show crossover. It's like when Avengers in DC like matches up. I gotta stop.
Well, hold on. The whole Cup of Joe thing yesterday, there was this whole COVID thing. There was a whole like reading tests, and a woman had to come in and do it right. So I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. That's the whole thing. Go back and watch.
Oh, we got a beef. We got a beef.
It was freaking hilarious. It was funny. Okay. Anyway, so. Yes. But Corey makes a good point. Yeah. He says, stay honest on your post. Values will come together. That is correct. You have to stay honest. There is somebody on X right now who keeps he keeps attacking another X creator, which is very strange. And I know that this person does not do their own deals. They talk about them, but they don't actually do them. So this is where that disconnect comes. This is where that dishonesty. It's okay to share that content. It's okay to share that stuff, but to claim it as your own and not actually own it is a challenge. And especially when it gets out that, hey, this person isn't actually working on that stuff. There's a huge disconnect there. Do I trust this person? No. Do I trust this person now that they keep attacking this other person for no apparent reason? No. Like, I have that person now on mute. I muted them yesterday because it's like, I don't want to see your content anymore.
Yeah.
You're annoying. Boom. As I think to myself, I wonder how many people have done that to me. It's okay.
You want to know what? Good riddance. Good riddance, because they were never going to say yes to working with you anyway. And the more that you show up as yourself, the easier it is for people to say yes to working with you, because they will know exactly who you are before you ever pick up the phone. Before you're going to walk into a room and people are going to be like, yeah, I know exactly what you're all about. Magnetic, right?
Yes.
That's it. So now that we've jammed on this for 17 minutes, do we want to segue?
Yes. So you did this incredible yesterday. So you actually wrote down how to be clear about your values. So I'm going to let you just riff on this because this was perfect. I loved everything that you had to say. And there's actually, I'm going to stop real quick. Dwayne, yes, stop lying. Yeah. I actually had that song stuck in my head after I heard that clip, and I was like, oh man. Anyway, so you said something, a part of this, and I'm just going to leave it here. It's edit for alignment. And I like, that was, to me, that was the full stop moment. Edit for alignment. So I want you to go through what you talked about, and then people understand what I mean by that.
Yeah. Okay. So if being clear about your values online makes it easier for people to trust you, say yes to you, find your people, work with you, make money, whatever. Bye, Corey. How do you actually do that? How do you actually do that is very difficult. And this is, I think, actually why we end up with all this like watery, diluted content that doesn't sound like people, is because you got to get really freaking clear about what your values are.
Right. And
have such razor sharp clarity that you don't have a question about them. And actually, this problem is way more prevalent than I thought. Even though people like know that what they do, they sell buildings, they do whatever, right? Like, they're not very clear about specifically why they do what they do. And so like the very first thing is you got to get really clear about what those are. What do you care about? And why? Okay. And this is a terrifying question to many people because, again, having to take up space and articulate about what they really care about is dangerous because it's drawing lines in the sand. But right. I'm telling you, you need to start drawing lines in the sand because, again, of all the reasons we just said about why that's important, right? And so the first thing that I'm going to recommend, and I'm following this medicine for myself, by the way, is you are going to start writing down all of your non-negotiables. What will you absolutely not do in your business? Who will you absolutely not work with in your business? And this can be this can run the gamut of like, I'm not going to work with assholes, to I am not going to sell buildings outside of New York City. Or I am not going to represent like whoever, right? Like, right. This is very handy with specialization. And if you are a generalist, like you may struggle with this, right? But you just make a list of all of your non-negotiables and you're going to use the negative space then to find what you really care about, find your values, right? And there's all kinds of, you can go open up ChatGPT and ask it like, based on everything you know about me, what are my values? You know what I mean? And just like, if you've been using ChatGPT for 3 hours a day for the last 2 years, like I have, that was very easy to see that spit back in my face. You can also Google lists of like finding your values, right? There are so many resources to do this. You do not have to do this alone, or talk to your friends, talk to your people, whatever, right? But you just need to get really clear about what those values are. Do you value speed? Do you value client experience? Do you value, what do you value? What do you care about? What do you care about? And how does that affect how you work? Okay. You need to start by getting really clear about that. The next thing that you're going to do, and this is going to be the painful part, it'll be painful yet easy if you've not posted anything because you'll have nothing to critique. But I want you to go back and look at all your shit. Look at your last 5 posts, look at your bio, look at your headline, look at your website, look at your emails, look at all this, just look at all this stuff. And look at your values, look at your non-negotiables, and then look at what you've actually produced and written and posted. Can somebody who doesn't know you, can somebody who doesn't have you, the direct line to your sociopathic brain, like, can the person who doesn't have a deep relationship with you see who you are based on what you're posting, right, on the identity that you've constructed for yourself in the way that you're posting online?
Right.
And if the answer is no, which it's no for most people, you don't need to do anything else with the formatting, with what you're saying, with like how you're posting, when you're posting, whatever. You need to edit for alignment. I don't care how your writing looks. I don't care how nice your pictures are. I don't care what time of day you post. If somebody can't see you in what you're putting online, this is never going to work.
Right.
So,
and what she means by if they can't see you, obviously they could see you, right? Like if you're posting your photo, she's saying if they can't see your value, if they can't see who you are, what you represent, what is important to you, then you are losing out on a very important part of social, which is sharing your authentic true self. Yes, I just said that. I can't believe I said that. I hate saying that, but it is absolutely true. If that person doesn't understand who you are, when they meet you in real life based on what they've seen from you on social, is going to be a disconnect. I have talked about this a lot. If you portray yourself as a certain way on social and then they meet you in real life and they're like, holy shit, this is
right. And what and then the flip side of that is like, I had a friend who needed a recommendation for a broker in a different state. And I went on all of my platforms and I was like, hey, who got somebody?
Right.
And I was very pleased with the spread that I was offered of people who can help with the situation I needed somebody for. And
right.
You want to know what I did first?
You went to their socials.
I looked at all their stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, somebody else if we're talking about hard skills, we're talking about like, you sell buildings, you write a proposal, you present LOIs, like you rep your tenants, you like whatever you're doing. So many other schmucks are out there doing that. Like literally none of us are special in what we actually deliver.
Right.
But the way in which we do it, which is your unique thing, like, again, that's the reason somebody's going to work with you. So, okay, so you've done an audit on yourself. You've realized, oh my God, I'm invisible. Nobody knows who I am, or nobody can see who I am, or there's some kind of disconnect between how I'm showing up online and who I actually am. Like, you've looked at that, you've looked at your stuff, you've started articulating your values. And the next thing they're going to do is just start writing it. Like, just start writing it, because like, yes, most of you, there's a huge disconnect between the way you actually are and how people perceive you online. Like, there just is. And there's so much fear. There's so much fear about being actually perceived. And the only way to get over that is to just to start. There's no other way to say it. And honestly, the longer that you go on without showing up in the way where you mean it, showing up in a way where it really feels like you, because the other thing too is you would probably feel a whole lot better about social media if you weren't trying to be somebody that you're not, if you
Correct.
weren't pulling your punches, all this stuff, right? Okay. So, and like, as we talk about all this stuff all the time, I'm just like, man, this would just be so daunting for somebody who has no idea what to do. Like, literally just start writing about what you do and why you do it. I'm doing a deep audit on my LinkedIn bio and everything because I don't feel like it's representative of the kind of work I want to be doing.
Right.
You know, I only work with sellers because XYZ. Like, I pick up the phone all the time because XYZ. Just like, what do you like? And so really, and like this is the exercise. Make a list of everything that you do in your business. Every single thing you do in your business, and write down why you do it and why you do it that way. That's where I would begin. I don't know. This is also where the text messages dropped off because I was like, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I just
So that's when you're doing a personal audit to find out what your values are. Yes, we have these core intrinsic values, right? But what's our value proposition? Are we articulating it well on social that people can understand it clearly, concisely, quickly when they look at our stuff? We've talked about this before. When you do the what do we call it? Buzzword salad or buzzword soup, right? Like, it's gobbledygook. We don't want to hear it. I need you to tell me quickly, clearly, and concisely what it is that you do so I can understand it. I don't have a lot of brain capacity, right? I do a lot of stuff every single day. So the faster that you can give me that information and it's easier for me to understand, the better our relationship can be. Do not make me waste brain cells to figure out what the hell it is that you're saying, right? So if we look at like my LinkedIn profile, it says, I do social media for busy commercial real estate professionals. It's the same thing on my website. It's pretty much the same thing across all platforms except for probably X, because on X, I'm talking about that I'm a mother, a wife, coffee lover. And then I have the rest of it in there. But like I haven't changed my profile since like 2012, other than the back end part of it. So that being said, you understand what I do. You understand who I work with. And that's it, right? Like, I have people jump into my DMs and they don't understand, or it's a canned response that they send and they're like, "Oh, you're looking for lending." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I do social media for busy commercial real estate professionals." Like, that's what I do. I don't know where you got that I'm looking to purchase a building. I don't know where you got that I was looking to get some. No, that's not my value proposition. That's not what I do.
Remember when somebody asked you if you needed a social media manager?
Yeah. I was like,
sorry.
No, I'm actually,
but I just like,
good, but thanks.
You would never, ever, ever want to waste your client's time. So why are you wasting your prospect's time by being unclear about who you are and what it's like to work with you?
Correct.
If you are very clear about that and you're confident about that and you show up like that, people are just going to be like the phone won't stop ringing. Seriously, like, you're going to unlock a part of this that you think is there and you see it for other people, but you don't know how to tap into it, because all those people who are totally smashing it are razor sharp about what their values are. And you can see it in their work. Look at Bob, look at Beth, look at Rod, look at Dawn, look at any of these cats. I was going to say something else. I was going to say clowns. That's not what I wanted to say, but what I mean to say is like, that the reason that those people are different, and this is a great introduction of our topic that we'll tackle on Thursday. The reason that these people are so successful is because, yes, they have all the other trappings. They've got, they have the help, they have the experience, they have the time in the game, they have they have everything that you think that you don't have. But it's available to you too. Right. And on Thursday, we're going to talk about what are we going to talk about?
You're asking me on Thursday. Hold on. I got to scroll up. Hold on. Okay.
It's really a problem with these text messages that I send to Mo. It's like
the top 10 LinkedIn influencers, what they have in common. And so if you're not aware, CREI Summit and the CREI group just released their list of the top 10 influencer. Actually, it's 150, I think. Lots of great folks. List. Big list. You can find it on CREISummit.com. And so just take a look at it and see who are the top influencers. And then I would love for you guys to join us and join the conversation as well on Thursday about what is it that all of these people are doing well on social, particularly LinkedIn. And I know the number one thing. I know what it is. I'm not going to tell you. I'll share that on Thursday. But I'd love for you to go and take a look at their content. Just go peruse it and see what it is that they have in common, right? You're going to find some commonalities between their content. And then also, last but not least, I went on to ChatGPT while Fly was talking.
Oh, God.
And this was the prompt that I put in. I said, based on what you know about Mo Regalado with Movo Media Marketing, what are her values? And the value, it came up with 5 of them for me. And it says, empowerment through simplification.
Nice.
Consistent engagement, authenticity and community building, strategic and personalized content, a client-centric approach, which if I look at all of these, I'm like, yeah, that actually applies. It applies for my business, not technically me as a person. And I'll probably like my personality. So my next question is going to be like her personal values. We'll see what it pulls up.
Yeah.
But
that's interesting. I had to do the flip when I did mine. I think that at some point I need to release my Chat GPT transcripts because like I think some of the things you're probably not supposed to be doing. But it was the flip for me. It was like, these are your personal values. And I was like, no, what do I value in my work? They're like, oh, usually you're just coming to me about your personal crisis about yourself. Like, so I'm telling you, it's really powerful. But yeah, I mean, mine, we'll talk about it another time. We have got to go.
Real quick, we had a question. ACTX on IG asked, she said, good morning, ladies. What did I miss? We were talking about value, how you share your value with your clients and prospects, what your value proposition should be. And we should probably do a blog post on this later or a LinkedIn post.
This is the one. This is the one we start the waterfall. I'm telling you, dude, it's all here.
Talking about
this is hard. Even the professionals. Okay.
Yes.
This is hard.
So we'll see you guys on Thursday. Fly has to go take her little one to kindergarten. No, she elementary school. No,
I don't know.
Preschool. She's got to take her to school.
She's like almost 6 feet tall. I don't know how old she is.
Casey Calhoun says on IG, he says, usually you only come to me for your personal crises.
Oh man, Casey, I hope you rewatch this whole thing because all
right, everybody, we'll see you back here on Thursday. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see you.